Hello everyone. Before diving into today's topic, we want to take a moment to thank you for your support. Every like, comment, and subscription really makes a difference and helps this channel grow. If you enjoy our content and don't want to miss our upcoming videos, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to receive all notifications. Imagine picking up a rock. It's hard, heavy, compact. It seems like the very essence of solidity, something immutable, robust, real. Now, imagine someone telling you that this rock is almost completely empty. Not only that, your hand, your bones, every molecule of your body, and even the ground beneath your feet are made, mostly, of nothing. Yes, what we perceive as solid and heavy is actually the result of a dance of energies and vibrations happening at levels far beyond what our senses can perceive. Mass, as we know it, is in fact a deeply elusive concept, moving away from the idea of solid matter to become something much more complex and fascinating. It's a concept that takes us to the heart of quantum physics, where matter and energy are linked by a universal principle. Everything is vibrating energy, and the reality we see is, essentially, the result of interactions of these invisible fields. Modern science, with its growing understanding of the nature of reality, is revealing to us a world where what we perceive as solid matter is in fact almost completely empty, a world where the very concept of substance becomes fluid and blurred. Physics tells us that inside every atom, beneath the surfaces of the particles that compose it, such as protons and neutrons, there is a vast space practically devoid of matter, but this lack of substance is not really nothing. It's just a dimension that eludes us, a dimension that, in our everyday experience, appears as nothing, but is actually full of potential. The truth is that the atom, the fundamental unit of matter, is made up of 99.999% empty space. This does not mean that the atom is not real, or that it has no mass, but it means that this mass is the result of complex interactions between subatomic particles. The protons and neutrons at the center of the atom are composed of even smaller particles called quarks, and these quarks are bound together by an incredibly powerful force called the strong force. It is this force, acting at subatomic levels, that gives matter its mass, but it is also what makes us see matter as solid, despite its internal structure being, in fact, a complex and dynamic network of energies and vibrations that we cannot easily observe with our senses. To understand this concept, we can look at the quantum vacuum, the field that permeates every corner of space. At the microscopic level, the vacuum is not empty at all, but is a sea in continuous boiling of virtual particles that form and destroy themselves in the blink of an eye. It is in this quantum vacuum that much of our modern understanding of matter resides. The particles we observe, those that define our real world, are not fixed objects, but fluctuations, disturbances of this vacuum that manifest in forms we can perceive. Each particle, from fundamental ones like the electron to more complex ones like protons, are not true particles in the traditional sense, but rather excitations in a quantum field. These fields are not visible, we cannot see them, but their presence is what gives rise to what we see as matter. Not only that, but matter itself emerges from an even more incredible phenomenon. Particles do not have mass by themselves. The mass of a particle is the result of its interaction with the Higgs field, a field that permeates all of space and gives mass to the particles that interact with it. Without the Higgs field, particles would be massless and would not have the characteristics we associate with solid matter. This field, which was discovered in 2012 with the famous Higgs boson, represents one of the greatest achievements of modern physics. In other words, without this field, matter as we know it would not exist. But what makes all of this even more fascinating is the fact that mass, as we see it, is not something that intrinsically belongs to matter, but is an effect of its interactions with other fields. Each particle has an apparent mass, which is nothing more than a consequence of the way it interacts with the Higgs field and other quantum fields that permeate the universe. This brings us to an even more mysterious concept, dark matter. Although dark matter does not emit light and is invisible to our instruments, It is believed to make up about 27% of the mass of the universe. Dark matter has not yet been definitively identified, but it is thought to be composed of particles that interact very weakly with normal matter. These particles escape our perception, but their presence is evident thanks to the gravitational effects they exert on galaxies and larger structures of the universe. What does all this tell us? It tells us that the reality we see, touch, and live in is not at all what it appears to be at first glance. Matter, which seems solid and defined, is actually just an illusion. It is the result of interactions between invisible fields, quantum fluctuations, and energetic phenomena that we cannot perceive with our senses. And everything we consider as empty is, in fact, a field of energy and infinite possibilities, ready to manifest in forms that challenge our understanding. This leads us to an even deeper reflection. If everything we see and touch is actually the result of interactions between energy fields, then we ourselves, as human beings, are nothing but a manifestation of these energies, vibrations, and waves. We are not solid bodies walking on Earth, but beings dancing through space and time, part of a cosmic symphony larger and more complex than we can imagine. And if everything we see and touch is just a small part of a much larger picture, then we are faced with an even more fascinating question. What is the true meaning of reality? What are we missing when we believe we perceive matter and mass as something fixed and immutable? The answer might be found in a future where we will be able to see beyond the illusions of our senses, to discover a world where matter and energy are tightly intertwined in ways that go beyond our current understanding. A future where we might be able to manipulate not only matter but also the laws that govern its existence. A future where the vacuum will no longer be seen as nothing, but as the foundation of everything that is. And who knows, perhaps in a not-so-distant future, we will be able to understand not only how matter works, but why it exists, why mass emerges from the vacuum, and what it represents for the fate of the universe. Maybe one day we will master the laws that regulate this cosmic dance and, like a perfect symphony, we will be able to write new melodies on the score of the cosmos. For now, we are content to admire the hidden beauty in the invisible vibrations that shape our world. A world that is not as solid as it seems, but is instead a vibrant network of infinite possibilities.